Welcome to the Scottish Interior Podcast. I'm Declan, a social media manager with a passion for interiors.
And I'm Michelle, an interior designer with my own company called Interiors 45.
Together, we're here to chat all things Scottish interiors, design trends, styling tips, and the projects that keep us busy. Now, let's get into today's episode. And we're back, Michelle. Episode 10, double figures.
Yes,
How
we
exciting.
are smashing it. Yes.
Last week's episode was great. George is just brilliant.
Oh, he's some man. Ever since we've met him, he's just fully into it. You get him the same way the whole time.
The moment we met him at Ideal Home Show, I was like, I like you.
Yeah, but his story is inspirational. So, yeah, people should definitely listen to it.
I know,
He's good.
Absolutely. So today's episode is an exciting one.
It is, yes.
It's all about bold design choices, big home transformations, and what really goes on behind the scenes of one of Scotland's best loved TV shows.
It's my best loved TV show. Well, I can't choose between that and Interior Design Masters, but
I know it's a tough one.
It's a toughie.
But it's a close call.
It
It
is.
absolutely is. We're joined by two incredible women who took part in BBC Scotland's Christmas Home of the Year 2024. And while their homes couldn't be more different, they both made a serious impression. Angela wowed the judges with her beautifully renovated Victorian home full of charm, character and classy design. And she walked away with a win.
she did. Stunning.
Gillian, on the other hand, brought a sleek architectural edge to the show with her stunning self-built home, a masterclass in total modern living.
Gorgeous.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
Oh, in unison.
You two are like the Australian twins, didn't we say? They speak in sync.
I know. And even although this is the first time you've met each other,
I know.
I
We
know.
spoke so often over Instagram, but never quite managed to meet up.
Yeah, I think
so-
we speak on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's
And our
so
Nice
homes are
to finally meet you.
I know. And our homes are so different, but we've just totally clicked.
Yeah.
but you've obviously had a shared then experience and a shared passion, which
Yeah.
is connecting you both. That's great. Thank you both for coming.
Oh, we're so excited to delve right in and just tell us everything, spill the beans on renovation, self-build. So let's kick off with a self-build.
Yeah, well, how did we end up self-building? Basically, it was because I wanted new internal doors. In our previous house, we built a 2-story side extension. We built a kitchen extension, and I just always had a project on the go. And I said to my husband, I want to change all the internal doors. So he counted how many doors we had in the house and said the words, "We would be better moving." At which point I put our house up for sale and
It
sold
needed
it.
no encouragement. Yeah, like that's it.
Put
Up
our
for
house
sale.
up for sale, sold it, and we had nowhere to go. I narrowed it down to 2 streets that I would move to and contacted estate agents. There was nothing up for sale. Eventually one did come up for sale and we viewed it. So we were left with nowhere to go. And then my husband came home from work one day and there was an advert on Rightmove which said 1.3 acres of land, which currently has a bungalow on it. And I thought, wonder what that means. We viewed it the following day and put an offer in. It went to closing date, which was nerve-wracking. And we eventually got the call to tell us that it was our house. So
Wow.
we got the keys of the bungalow on the 4th of August 2017, and it was that bad that the kids would rather go and pee in the trees rather than use the bathrooms. So it was completely uninhabitable. It had been a 96-year-old man that lived there. It was in a time warp back to the 60s. I don't think
God.
there'd been anything done in it since
Wow.
then, and it was just horrific. So it was in a conservation area as well, which made everything just a little bit more complicated.
Can imagine.
So, so we designed the house that we wanted to build and went through planning. So they said no, or not quite no to start with, but they came back and said, no, you're demolishing a bungalow. We want a bungalow in its place. So that was a bit of a fight with them. But I stuck to my guns and could justify why we should get 2 stories. And yeah, so the adventure began. My husband promised I'd be in my new house by 2018. and we didn't get planning permission until 2018. We rehomed bats. I wouldn't like to count how many site investigations we had to do. At one point, we thought we were going to have to do an archaeological dig.
Wow.
So eventually, the old bungalow was demolished, and it was my mum and I that did most of the demolition.
Oh, how fun.
No
yeah,
way.
great fun, yeah. A digger came in at the very end just to flatten the external walls,
Did you
but
have a
my
wee
mum and
shot?
I pretty much, no, I didn't. No, they didn't trust me with that. So, yeah, and we broke ground on our new house on May 2019.
Wow.
Wow, so many hoops to jump
I know.
through.
Yeah.
It's
I know.
just mind blowing.
Yeah.
And we'll move on to you. We were renovating.
Yeah, so was never part of the plan. My husband Mark, he's a builder roofer, and he'd always thought, like you, Gillian, doing a self-build. But we had 4 children, and our youngest 2 were under 3 and 2. So he just felt like to do that, he would need to maybe move into a caravan, be on site, and he wasn't willing to sacrifice all that time with the kids. So we decided that we would maybe try and see if we could find a house that needs renovated. So we had put in offers in numerous houses, never got any. So we kind of decided that no, we'll just stay in the house that we're in. We'd already done a wraparound extension on it, so we were pretty happy with the way the house was. And then out of the blue, I saw this house advertised, and I had the 2 babies in the back of the car, drove up to it. It was pouring with rain. The house looked so sad and unlived in.
Oh.
Gloomy.
But immediately, I just knew exactly what I wanted to do with that house. I could picture what it would be like in the years to come. Maybe a few years longer than what I'd anticipated, but we did get there. It was more about the views and the land and the sort of lifestyle that I knew we could have. So I went home and I said to Mark, and he was like, I thought we decided we're just leaving it. I was like, well, I'll tell you what, if you come and see it and you decide against it, then we'll leave it. So we went up that night and he saw it and he fell in love with it the same way that I did. And he said, well, no matter what it's like inside, we're going to put an offer in. And that's what we did. So I think it must have been in the space of about 3 weeks, our offer had been accepted. Our house sold within a day and we moved into it. So it was 4 days before Christmas. The kids were at my mother-in-law's. We arrived at the house. It was later at night, pitch black, switched on the lights, and we had no electricity.
Oh,
so
God.
the house had previously been a care home. So as you can imagine, it was linked corridors everywhere. There was cobwebs, that smell, because no one had lived in it. So it was the dampness, the noises for the floorboards. It was absolutely terrifying. I could actually just visualise this horror story taking place that night, 4 days before Christmas. We could even title it. So I remember just saying to Mark, like, if I'm going to the toilet, you're coming with me. And he says, if I'm going to the toilet, you're coming with me. And basically that's what we did that night. We were clung to each other. So we slept in the living room. Obviously, we still had no lights. We had a few wee candles. There was a fireplace there. So we thought, at least if we light that, then we can get a heat. And we woke up in the middle of the night and the smoke was belching everywhere. I literally thought we had set our new house on fire the same night we moved in. And so our journey began.
And what's really interesting is the fact that both of you are on the Scotland's Christmas Home of the Year, and both of you have experienced like really like Christmases just when you moved into your house that were absolutely not like what you would normally want to experience.
Yeah.
We moved into ours on Christmas Eve. And at 10 o'clock that night, we were frantically at the storage container trying to find a dining room table. And at that point, upstairs was pretty much finished within the house. But downstairs, the only room that resembled a room was the kitchen. So, yeah. And we hosted the whole family for Christmas dinner the
Did you
next
manage
day.
to get a Christmas tree up?
My son and I rushed to be in queue on Christmas Eve. And I've got a brilliant photograph, and it's the 2 of us driving back from B&Q with a Christmas tree that I got for £5 in the car.
A yellow sticker Christmas tree.
And my son's totally squashed. And so we had a real Christmas tree in the kitchen. That was it. It was a wee small one, and that was all we had that year. But
it's amazing what you do for a wee bit of normality.
I wouldn't have been
and amongst all the chaoticness.
But you know what? Those are memories that you'll just, both of you, like, they're great stories, and you'll take them to the grave with you because they're such important parts of the story.
Definitely. I think I could write a book on the things that have gone wrong, the situations we've found ourselves in.
And
but
I think
character building.
That's it. And everyone thinks, oh, how glamorous, you built your own house or you did a renovation. They have got no idea. It's not glamorous.
Not in the slightest.
It's painful, and we always talk about project fatigue, and there is always a moment where you think, I don't know if I can continue to go on. But you're usually just at the cusp at that point, and then everything gets easier after that. But I see it all the time with people, and I always say that I would either like to do a self-build or I'd love to do a renovation. But I see the pain that goes through all of my clients, and I'm thinking, well, would I do that? I don't know. But yeah, I think it really helps, like Angela, you having a husband as a builder.
Yeah.
That's just like
we just couldn't have done it if it wasn't for Mark's skills. Like financially, it would not have been a possibility. Like we could never have afforded to get tradespeople in to do it. So yeah, it worked out quite well.
So I need to know all about Scotland's Home of the Year, filming, and was it fun? Like, did you apply? What happened? How did you get there?
Brilliant.
It was great fun.
Every minute of it. And I think we were both similar, as in we had been contacted because we've got our home accounts on Instagram.
Right, okay.
We had been contacted and encouraged to apply. So I think first off, I was like, no.
They contacted me, I think the first year must have been 2021. And even if you follow our Instagram, I don't know if you've noticed, but our whole ground floor tiling actually only happened in October of 2024. So my tiler was actually still there working when I was saying, you need to hurry up and get finished because they're coming to film. So when they first started, I was like, our house isn't finished. You can look and think it's finished, but there was still quite a lot of work to be done to it. So for the first couple of years, I was like, I'm not ready. And then eventually this year, I was like, we're not far off finishing. I put the tiler under huge pressure because it was an enormous job.
When did you film it? Was it the November?
The very beginning of November. The end of November. Or was that the recce?
So that was kind of a wee trick question there because I actually noticed in your Christmas countdown, it was like the 5th or 6th of November.
So
on one of your decorations had like a flip.
Right,
I was like, it's the 5th of November.
Maybe it was.
I think it might have been the recce was the 5th of November because we hosted a Halloween party for our whole friends and family. Because obviously we had no idea that we were even going to be on the show. And as they were leaving, I was like, can you pull down a decoration? And then the Christmas boxes came out that night. So literally in the morning, it was done up for Halloween and then there was trees up.
Yeah, because when they do the recce, they ask you if you can have a room decorated they can see it when they come to do the visit. Okay. And so I remember doing that and it was like, it was literally
Halloween.
And I'm sure I started decorating on Halloween because my son came downstairs and was like, Mum, what is it you are doing? It's Halloween. And then it was a few weeks after that they did the full filming.
That's incredible.
But both of you have got such, like, you obviously both love Christmas because you just had like so many rooms, like all the rooms done for Christmas. And is there any rooms that you can then say to them that you don't want them to go into? Is that a choice of yours? Yeah.
There was one. I was like, please don't go in.
And I didn't realise you could say that you didn't want them in a room. So we hadn't said, but they didn't actually go into all the rooms. So you didn't see all the rooms on camera.
Yeah, I think they only showed 3 or 4, was it? Yeah. About 3 or 4.
And Michelle, your favourite was the bathtub in the bed.
The bath. Mm-hmm. I love a bath. I love a bath. I could have a bath every night. But sometimes when I'm in like the bath, I'm like, what's going on? Like I want to see what's going on somewhere.
That was one of those decisions where we debated it. I didn't know if it came across a wee bit pretentious, like having a bathtub.
No.
I'm so glad that we did it. And he's even managed to get the telly on a wee swivel so you can turn it round. It's great.
It's just so nice. It's just so nice because I went away for Christmas last year and in the room there was a big, beautiful, big copper bathtub sat in the room right in the window and you had your own wee Christmas tree and everything. And it was amazing. And I thought, this was me in my room, I would be here every night, like in the bath.
I do try, and it looks picture perfect on Instagram, and then you've got the kids tapping on the door, Mom, can you do this, can you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. But
reality.
yeah, it's just like, God, you must take so much time though to like do all your decorations. And
I think it was about a month. And there was a few nights where it was like 2 and 3 in the morning that I was still doing things.
Yeah.
And I did every single part of it myself.
Wow. Because they actually did make that comment.
Yeah.
They says, Anna Campbell
yours
Jones
was
says,
fab.
I could be convinced that this was a professional
yeah.
decor dresser that done
Yeah.
it, because it was
Nobody
just,
else is allowed to touch it. Not that I'm a control freak, but no, nobody's allowed to touch it. And I made a lot of things myself, so there's a lot of handmade things as well.
I loved your star on the staircase.
Yeah,
That was made
that's
of
brown paper bags glued together. You know, it's so
brilliant.
simple, but it looks really effective.
Oh, it looked amazing.
I'm not going to lie. We kind of stalked each other on Instagram. We managed to find out who was all going on the show because we hadn't been told.
It was Matthew.
Like, we could seriously be like detectives or agents of some sort.
And even so the programme that's on just now, Scotland's Home of the Year, we're really good at finding the contestants from that as well. So we're following all them now as well. So before they actually appear, we're like, we found one.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should be admitting to that.
Oh, we're going to get some top tips off camera.
I know.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, look, it's a shame though, because in the Christmas one, like the Scotland's Home of the Year, they bring everybody together at the end and they're able to look at each other's. So that's a shame they didn't do that in the Christmas one.
nice to have
Yeah.
that.
That's what I was going to ask you, because like obviously your styles are completely different,
Yeah.
but is your style, Angela, always been like sort of, or did you just immerse yourself in the
No.
Victorian?
The minute we saw the house, I think the house decided how it wanted to be decorated.
But that's telling on you that the fact that you can actually adapt to be and embrace that style, because no everybody could have
our
done
previous
that.
house, I would say, was very modern.
Yeah.
And then we came to this house. We did put an extension, so we did have to adapt it slightly just for functionality. Like the kitchen was in the back, at the back of the house. There was no fuse, so we knew straight away we would need to do an extension. And because we've got a few of like Tintle Hill, and so it's lovely. So we wanted to bring the kitchen to the front and the living area to the front. So as well as trying to keep it traditional, we did have to make a few wee adaptations to it. But yeah, I do like the bold style. I don't know if it wasn't for Instagram and seeing other people going dark and bold with their patterns and like clashing their patterns, if I would have been as adventurous. But I'm definitely glad that we did do that.
We've said that before. I think I mentioned that a couple of episodes ago, that I think lockdown gave us that time we necessarily didn't have, where we spent a lot more time on our phones and looking for inspiration, and like that's when my home account grew as well, through that period, and it allowed me to be like, do you know what, other people are doing it, I want to just go be a bit bold and go crazy about a wallpaper in the bathroom. And
See, I was probably a wee bit late. I started my Instagram account when we got the land and we were building the house, so that I could document it really for our children, because they weren't interested. They really were not interested. It was like, you're doing what? I couldn't care less. And I thought at one point later in life, they might look back and go, oh, actually, you know, that was quite an adventure.
Amazing. But is that where you would say both of you like get inspired from Instagram, or do you do other platforms like Pinterest and stuff like that? Like, or is it
Pinterest, but mostly Instagram.
Instagram.
Mostly Instagram.
Definitely.
yep, I'm not a Pinterest fan.
I know,
Just
we've talked about that.
But I just can't get on board with it.
But also now,
And Rightmove. I love Rightmove.
aye. But yeah, it is. I think it's good that, like, I really love how you've developed your own styles, because not everybody can do that, and obviously you've documented your journey so you can see how far you've come. But like from going from like modern to being quite like maximalist and Victorian is just, it's a talent.
I would never have classed myself as like a maximalist look, but then Anna Campbell Jones, she straight away said, "Oh, you're a maximalist," and I was like, "Oh, actually, I am."
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I love adapting my style to it. Obviously, like we were very tight with the money. All our money went into making it structurally sound and safe. So when it came to actually decorating, all the great ideas that I saw from other people's accounts, I had to be sensible about it. So I would take their ideas. I wanted to use wild wallpaper, and people kept contacting saying, oh, where's your wallpaper from? It looks very expensive. In actual fact, I think like the most expensive roll of wallpaper we've got in our house is $12.99, because when you have to be tight, you can manage it. Like Facebook Marketplace became like my best friend. Every night I was on that, like trying to find a bargain.
Death scrolling there.
Like before that, I was obsessed with shoes, and it was like, oh, look at these designer shoes. And then it was like, oh, look what I got for £20 off Marketplace. Like an 8-arm chandelier. That's what my life changed.
That's why we've totally hit it off. My friends have disowned me because my ideal day out would be going handbag or shoe shopping. Now it's like, look at the power tool I've got. I don't know what has happened to you.
Oh, that's funny, because my next question was actually going to be, did you have any like personal wins or pinch me moments? But I think you've just answered that. Just succeeding in Marketplace and finding
power tools.
Absolutely. We did have a cracker though, because it was just before we found out that just after we'd found out we were going to be on the show. And I suddenly started looking at the walls and thinking, oh, like that's very bare. We need a mirror for here, there. So I was on Gumtree and I came across this man that was selling this fabulous big massive mirror. And when I went out to his house, he started telling me the story about how he was in a big manor home and they've downsized. He's like that, I've got hundreds of big brass like framed portraits. Do you want to have a look? We came away with like, I don't know how many £1,000 worth of goods for something like £200, and it
Amazing.
decorated the whole house. And I was like,
that's
I know, I really should have contacted him to say your pictures are on the telly.
Thanks to you.
BBC tonight.
I think that's the thing when you're taking on a big project like that. Like we moved in and it was like, we've got the furniture from our old house. We can't afford to just go and replace everything. You've got to do it gradually. When we finished, I painted the entire house. We did a lot of the work ourselves. So we bought one of those paint spray machines, and so the whole house was painted white. And that's not my finished vision, but it was down to cost. You've just got to do enough that, we thought we're as well to go as big with the house as we can and really push that and do your structure, and then the decor can come afterwards. So that's now where my bedrooms are our next big project, because we moved in with the bedroom furniture from our old house, which didn't suit the house, but we couldn't afford to do everything at the one time.
So I'm going to ask this question to both of you. What is your biggest achievement? Like, what's your, like, if there's one special bit, one special room or thing that you've done in your house, what would it be?
Probably the kitchen. I think for most people now, your kitchen's the heart of your home. So absolutely everything that's happening in our house happens in the kitchen. So that was when we were looking at downstairs, we're saying, oh, we don't have to have all these rooms finished. If we can have the kitchen finished, then, we can move in with it. And that's pretty much what we did. But yes, absolutely everything that's going to happen now happens in the kitchen.
Absolutely.
I'm laughing at your idea being about what room, and I was just thinking that our marriage survived. That's my biggest achievement.
Well, that is an achievement. Yeah, that is an achievement. Brilliant.
Fantastic. No, I think we kind of got on very well throughout it. We both had our roles to play. Mark doing all the structure, the hard work. Yeah. And I came in and threw a wee bit of glitter or something. There's no glitter in my house, but I threw up the wallpaper and did all the nice touches. But everyone kept saying, like, did you argue throughout it? And I was like, we actually didn't, but I don't know if it was down to the fact that we've got a strong marriage or we were that tired, we just didn't have the energy.
Didn't have the energy.
Like, by the
You're
time
exhausted.
we would go to bed, we literally just like lay there like, what have we done?
I think also you've got to be a team to be able to take on a project like that. I think if you were going to take it on and you're not, a really strong team, it just wouldn't work.
And just for the listeners who are currently either looking at doing self-build or renovating, is there anything that you would advise possibly doing differently if you had to start for the very beginning again? Is there anything that you would think would be worth sharing?
I think for anyone doing a self-build is expect the unexpected. When we started out, I don't know if we would have done it if we'd have fully realised what it was like. We didn't, consider that we were going to have to pay £5,000 to rehome bats.
Because they're owned by the royal family, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're protected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Protected, yeah.
So we didn't. There was lots of things like that we didn't, all the ground investigations and things that you need to do. I didn't know anything about any of that. I had to research it all and learn as we went.
Wow.
So I think the big thing would be prepared and expect the unexpected. It's the things that you don't see that cost money. So before you've even got out the ground, it's all the unexpected costs.
Yeah.
Always have contingency, and probably more than your contingency.
And we're thrilled to announce that the Scottish Interior Podcast is proudly sponsored by Tyrrell's Home Furnishings.
With over 90 years of experience, Tyrrell's specialise in all things home furnishings, from flooring and carpets to upholstery, living, bedroom and dining furniture. Their commitment to quality, value and exceptional service has made them a trusted name in the industry.
A huge thank you to Tyrrell's Home Furnishings for supporting the podcast, bringing style, comfort and inspiration to homes across Scotland.
What about
also
your advice?
think the time that it takes to do things. Like, I was a wee bit naive as to think when we first went in what time scales and what we were going to make. Obviously, we did get hit with COVID, which kind of knocked things back a wee bit. But for a renovation, I thought, well, we've got our house. But I never considered that when doing a complete renovation, you're basically building a house within a house. So before you can even get started, you're tearing that house apart, you're getting everything organised for it. So you definitely think about the time. And also, I think you need to adapt. So the rooms that we thought we were going to do first, we ended up not doing it. We wanted to have just like a living area. So one of our rooms, we had to have a couch in it. There was rubble in the corner. It was just plastered walls. There was planks, like we basically walked the plank. And we had like a wee slow cooker and a microwave, and that's how we lived for years.
Amazing.
Years.
I think that's it. You've got to make sacrifices.
Aye.
We laughed when my house went on Christmas Home of the Year. There was loads of comments all over social media saying, oh, it's easy, you've just bought a new build and moved in. And we were saying, if only they knew what was actually going through.
I know.
And we were millionaires. When you heard the comments about both our houses, we were millionaires, and we're going, that couldn't be further from the truth. But we've made sacrifices. We've sacrificed family holidays and things like that to be able to do the project that we've done.
We moved in with £3,000 in the bank. Like, that's ludicrous. Like, absolutely mental. We had anticipated having a wee bit more of a budget, but then what we had to pay to get the house rose, and then obviously our house selling. So we moved in.
And we weren't much better because we put the offer in on the derelict house that we were buying. It cost more than the house that we were selling. And when you look at the house we were selling and look at what we were buying, you would think we were absolutely crazy. And it was unmortgageable, so we couldn't even take a mortgage on it. So we had to buy the bungalow that we were demolishing in cash.
That's why we had to move in and live. Like, ideally we would have wanted to keep our house,
and that's why we stayed with family, because we couldn't have afforded to do it and to pay for rent as well.
It's definitely not as glamorous, and I think the thing is, when you see it on Instagram, whatever, you can do reels and it goes fast, and it and it's like ping, it's all done, and it's absolutely not. Like, having watched so many people and helped so many people through it, I get to go home at the end of the day and I'm like, okay, bye. I'll see you next week, and like, hope yous are still standing next week. So it really is. It's you've got to be strong, but I think if you've got the passion for it and you've got family and you've got strong relationships, you'll get through it.
You've got to laugh.
You've got to laugh. Absolutely.
And looking back, because obviously you've came over the last few years through renovation, self-build. What was it like watching your television and you and your husband's on screen? Was it?
So it was a wee bit daunting, because the first time we got to see it was when everyone else got to see it.
You didn't get a preview?
No, we had no preview. So we had, I had friends and family, and I think you had friends and family over as well. But the staff in my school were all having a party too to watch it. So it was a wee bit daunting.
But did you know you had won?
Well,
Did you know you had won?
We knew we had won. The kids didn't know, because you weren't allowed to leak that you had won.
Right, okay.
So their reaction on the telly was a genuine reaction. It was all a bit
And we knew that we hadn't won, but we didn't know who had won.
Right, okay.
So,
So
and actually, we wouldn't, like, I don't even know if the BBC knew that we'd all been in contact with each other by that point, and that through Instagram that we'd found the 5 houses through
You had sussed it
Instagram,
all out.
which was
Basically-
difficult because obviously they gave us all Christmas names, so they didn't
Yeah,
use
I did notice
they
that.
didn't
Was
use
it
our own
Mistletoe
house. Yep, they
Mansion?
didn't use our own house names, and they also were very careful about our locations.
Who's
we
your
genuinely
favourite
did-
judge?
Oh, that's a hard
I've
one.
not met them. You've met
I've
them.
met them. I've got to say I like them all. I do like them all. They were all fabulous. And I got like different advice from all 3 of them. Like Danny and my husband were right into talking about like the extension.
structure,
And
yeah.
I
He's
had
an architect.
all of that. And then Banjo gave me the advice. He's like that, when you watch this, you're going to absolutely hate it the first time. He's like that. Once you watch it 3 times, then you'll start seeing, oh, do you know, actually it's not as bad as what I thought it was going to
Well,
be.
you sent me a clip of it yesterday, and even when you sent that clip yesterday, I was like, oh no, I still don't really like. I'll watch your part back. I'll watch everyone else's part back, but I don't like
Fast
watching
forward you a
myself.
bit.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to watch myself.
No,
Because
I
it's
didn't
literally right
realise
opening credits, then bang into you. It's-
And I do like Banjo.
Aye.
I love
I like
soft
Banjo.
spot for
Aye,
Banjo.
we have a wee
I
soft spot for
absolutely
Banjo.
love Banjo. But then I feel like I followed his journey as
Yeah,
well.
absolutely.
So yeah, I've watched every step of his journey, and then like just hearing the story about coming over here and how he set up and the risk that he took.
I know,
Yeah.
he's lovely.
I can relate to that.
Oh, cute.
Definitely. But we genuinely didn't find out that we had won until the day they were coming out to give the prize. So I
Amazing.
remember,
Let,
did you
let
get
the
this?
postcode lottery, let the knock on the door.
Honestly, I didn't know if it was going to be that, what's that, dinner date when you get like a microwave meal, you're all done up, ready for the telly, the door opens. Although we did have to record it several times. Mark headbutted one of the judges as he opened the door.
So we're going to do a little quick fire round. So time for a bit of fun.
Angela's nervous.
I am very nervous. Help me out here. My
Nice.
brain
All I'm
doesn't
looking
work.
for is just the first thing that comes to your mind. So how should we do this with the duo? Will we just ask them both to give us?
Something each.
Oh, so we're
Shout,
getting the same
fight for
questions.
it.
Oh, you could do one then the other.
We'll do that.
Uh-huh.
1, 2, skip a 2, 1, 2, skip a few.
That means you've got less questions.
That's fine. I'm happy with that.
Okay, Angela, favourite room in your home?
My bedroom.
I
Agreed.
I should say
Absolutely.
playroom, shouldn't I?
Gillian, one item you'd never part with in your home.
Ooh, that's a difficult one. My kitchen island.
Oh, good answer. Worst part of a big project?
Trying to get the flue liner up about, I don't know, 12 metres. A dead bird landed in my head and everything. So
my
I would
God.
definitely say that was the worst part of the
That's a whole other
project.
story.
That was the moment where I thought, what am I doing? And Mark's up on the roof shouting, don't let go of it. And I'm like, there's a bird in my head.
Oh my God.
Instagram or TikTok?
Oh, Instagram every day.
Aye, I'm an
Easy.
Instagram OG
Easy.
as well. Dream collaboration. Maybe for the both of you can answer that one.
Ooh. I've got an exciting one coming up.
Oh, have you? Oh, I do know.
Can
Actually,
you reveal?
yeah.
Can
I'll
you
agree.
reveal?
Can I steal hers?
I think so. I'm doing a bed collaboration with the Luxury Bed Company.
Oh,
We were just
nice.
chatting about it
Chatting about
in the
them
last
earlier.
episode,
So yeah,
so
it's
exciting.
very exciting.
Oh,
Good.
100%.
I can't think.
Angela's like, what about me?
What about me? I've got some bath stuff coming. I am excited about it. I'm sure it'll be lovely.
That'll be beautiful.
It'll be.
Something you'd do differently.
Wear proper shoes when on the digger.
If both of you, last question, could pick a theme song for your home, what would it be?
God, that's a hard question.
That's a very hard one. It's got to be country anyway.
Yeah.
Scottish countryside, there must be something. I'm just that used to going on Instagram and typing in a few keywords and the song comes up.
Seeing
I
what's
don't
trending.
actually think of what it's called. Instrumental. Yes.
Well,
No.
I
Here
think,
we go.
yeah, I think if I was to ask the men that I live with, our games room maybe gives you an indication of what song my family might pick. Simply the best.
But Tina.
Brilliant.
Love
That
it.
was great. Thank
Love
you
it.
so much.
Oh, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. So if you could just plug your Instagrams, where can people find you?
My Instagram is cruakin_self_build.
Ours is just Breen_Victorian_renovations.
Fabulous.
I didn't put too much thought into that. Breen as in BRWN. All I get is Mrs. Bean. I'm like, no, Breen.
Likewise, guys, you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok at Scottish Interior, and don't forget hit that subscribe button. That's a wrap.